Hi everybody, welcome back to Jenkins Boat Works. I am Chuck Jenkins. In this episode, we paint our Snark. I just got done putting the second coat on. I think I'm happy with it. I think I might have to do one more coat. We'll see. I have such bright light in the shop and it's nighttime now when I'm doing this, and so it looks different than when I did the first coat, which was in the daylight. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when it dries out. I want to make a comment about the rollers that I used. There's a point in the first coat that goes on where the roller goes flying off of the handle, and it caught me off guard. I was surprised. I just figured these little foam rollers were foam rollers. I bought these at the hardware store, and it says they're okay for oil paint and latex and fine finishes. I think it disintegrated in the inside, and I started out using this one because it had better, I thought, better ends on it. This is some I had left over from when I painted the Haven, the Impact, and I had bought these online. I can't remember if I got these from Jamestown or where I got them, but this is a high density foam roller, and this does not disintegrate. So this is what I used at the end of the first coat, and then now to do the second coat. Well, we've been a while getting here. I'm real happy with it, and I'm glad you're here. So let's jump in and paint a Snark.
If you like the video, remember to like and consider subscribing.
All right, well, we got some paint in yesterday from Total Boat. We got a topside primer, and then we got wet edge. It's a 1-part polyurethane. I got yellow that I think is about as close a match as I'm gonna get to what this originally looked like. And we've been sanding. Sanding and sanding and sanding. Finally took the longboard sander with 150 and then down to 220. And it's pretty smooth. There are what look like some little scratches still in here, but to the touch, it feels incredibly smooth. You can see here I'm into the cloth just a little bit, so I think I'm gonna quit. We vacuumed, then I wiped it down with a water alcohol solution, which I think I'm actually gonna do one more time. Then take a microfiber cloth to it. Make sure we get all the dust off. I've vacuumed and cleaned up the floor. We may let the dust settle just a little bit before we put this primer on. Hopefully it goes on good. I may have this way better than what I originally anticipated, so I need to remind myself of that and be good with it. I am in hopes that I'm not going to see these little scratches. Boy, since I wiped it all down, I don't see them quite as badly as I did. So let's see how this goes. Already got a hair in there. And I'm using a decent brush. You find out what kind of sanding job when you did when you start putting this on, because it'll show every little imperfection. And I know I have a couple. All right. Gotta know when to leave it alone. It's gonna be good. So we got the primer on here. And there's this. There was a spot here where I sanded too much and I got through the fiberglass cloth, and it didn't even occur to me that this primer would eat the foam, but you can see that it did. I'm gonna mix up some fairing compound and put in there. I have one other tiny little spot right there, so I might as well fill that in. Otherwise, we're in really good shape. Man, that's disturbing. Fixable though. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna wipe this thing down with Total Boat, the brushing thinner. That's what the paint says to do. We're gonna use Total Boat topside. And you know, you don't need to use a bottom paint on this because it's not gonna live in the water. So we're gonna use a topside paint, but I gotta make sure that the primer's clean first. We spent a lot of time vacuuming and cleaning the shop this morning. Just make sure we don't have a lot of dust flying around. And so now I just wanna go over this and make sure that it's completely clean. So we're gonna wear a breather and see if we can get this thing cleaned up and ready to go. You know, this breather's working when you can't smell anything, and I can't, so that's good. I've been waiting. And we'll let this dry for a little bit. All right, so we're getting ready to do this paint. We're gonna use this Total Boat Wet Edge. It's a 1 part, so you don't have to mix it with another hardener or anything. I've got some high density foam rollers, and I like this because first of all, the paint shouldn't eat it. Second of all, it's got these rounded edges. So when you paint, you don't leave like a line with a hard-edged roller. So these are good. Now, I had some that I had ordered online, and then I got some just at the hardware store. And so hopefully these will work good. I've got a solvent-resistant paint pan, and I think I may put some brushing thinner in here. We'll see what it looks like, how thick it is. And I don't know if we'll be able to get this in 1 coat or if we'll have to come back and do a second. So let's see. Feels pretty thick. You know what, I want to punch some holes in here. Learn this trick from Lou. trick's not to tip it over on yourself. All right. Yeah, that feels really thick. I'm gonna mix this up good first. Then we'll put some thinner in it. I think we can go up to 10% or so on the thinner. I may actually use a mixing cup for that. So if I put 10 ounces in here and then we'll just go up to 11, that should give me 10% on the thinner. Pretty close to 10 right there. So let's put some of this in there. Thin it down just a little bit. And that feels like that thinned that quite a bit, really. Okay. That may be good right there. It's going to be interesting to see how it covers. Boy, this doesn't smell like it's got nearly the VOCs as the primer did. I still think I'm going to wear my breather.
All right, here we go. Let's do this. I lost my other roller. It does make me think that maybe this is eating that foam. We have to pay attention to that. I got a little run right here too. Fix that right now.
This roller was one that I'd gotten online as the high density one. not the hardware store one. And fortunately, I didn't have another problem with it, eating the roller. So let's say after the first coat, and we got to put on a second coat. The directions on the total boat topside paint say wait at least 16 hours and then scuff it up with either 220 grit or Scotch-Brite. This yellow color is attracting some little friends that I don't need help with. Well, after all, it is a sunflower. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks like there's places where the hull is not fair, but I think that it is just because there's places where we didn't get good coverage. You can really see a difference in the color right there. And so we're not getting a full reflection, and it's playing tricks with the light. You see, there's another spot there. So we will scuff this up and put on another light coat. We may have to do a third coat, but quite honestly, I think the second one's probably gonna do it. Super happy with it. All right, I see one little run right there. Other than that, I don't think I've got any runs. I've got a Scotch-Brite on a sponge, and then I've got some 220. I'm gonna try both and see what works. And I'm not interested in sanding this off of here. All I wanna do is get it to where it's got just enough tooth to where that next coat will go on and stick. So let's try this first. I'm gonna try the 220 on this part here where there is a little run. And I took that right out of there. Let's get a sanding pad. I can hear the difference between where I've been and where I haven't been. Compared to I don't know if that'll come through on the audio or not, but it's nice because then I know I don't have to do it there anymore. So I can tell where I've been. I want to show two other things real quick. I got a lot of comments about the weight of this boat. How much does it weigh? I haven't weighed it, I don't know. But I can lift it easily with one hand. I'm gonna guess we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 pounds. I think that was originally what it was. There was the plastic liner on the outside just like there is on the inside. And so with that not on there, I think I've just traded weight between epoxy and fiberglass as compared to that original plastic that was on there. The other thing is I think I got pretty lucky with the color on this. Certainly close enough. I'll lift it up here and you can see the inside liner and see how close this yellow color is. Hopefully you can see that. There's not a lot of light under there. Certainly it's brighter on the outside, but close enough.
Okay, it's going to be a second coat. I am your father.
Part of what I was doing here was alternating sides. You want to try to keep a wet edge, so I didn't go all the way back on the one side. I'd do a little ways back there, then come over to the other side and do some. So back and forth so that your paint's not drying out and creating lines to where you can't blend it in. We wound up with 3 coats on here and a final touch-up with a brush. And those were all a day apart because this had to dry for up to 16 hours before you could apply the next coat. All right, some final thoughts about this. We wound up with 3 coats of paint, the last of which I brushed on. And if I have it to do over again, I'll probably use a 2-part paint as opposed to the polyurethane. We had some issues with it eating through into the foam, and I don't have nearly as smooth a finish on here as I had hoped for, but if you remember what it looked like at the beginning, my whole objective was to get this to a point where it's very functional and protected, and that we have accomplished. So overall, I'm very happy with it, and we're gonna flip it over and do some things to the inside, but oh my, don't have a cow, Toby. Yeah, anyway, pretty happy with it. If you liked the video, remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.